And welcome back to Life on Cars. Hope you're all keeping well. And in today's episode, we're back on the Rolls-Royce project. Now, you might remember in the previous episodes, we've been working on the brakes, and since you've been gone, I've been working on the knee side front, and that's pretty much ready for bleeding. But she's thrown me up a little problem. I was working just on the knee side there, having a look around as you do, and I spotted a leak. So come on, let's find out what's going on and see if we can put it right. Let's go. So like I said at the start of the video, I am now working on the knee side, doing the same job that you saw me do over 3 episodes previously on Life on Cars on the other side. And I'm getting a couple of green drips just on the floor here, just kind of under there. And I've decided to have a bit of a look to see if I can see where that's coming from, because that is LHM fluid, which isn't a good thing. So I was chatting the other day to Matt from IntroCar, who is fast becoming my new best mate. Because I'm either ringing him up or I'm sending him messages. But he's been super supportive. He said to me, really, with the jobs that you're doing on this car, it should really have a couple of new feed hoses from the reservoir to the pumps, feed and return. He said they're quite common for going porous, and especially if they're 30-year-old, they could be porous. So he said, have a good look at them. Well, guess what? I've got quite a bad leak on one of them. Come on, I'll show you. So I've just took the cover off the top of these 2 reservoirs. As you can see, it's quite complicated, but basically you've got a couple of hoses, this one here and this one. I'm not exactly sure which way around it is, but one of them is a feed and one of them's a return. I'll probably figure it out a bit later on. But this one here, I've traced that down. You can see there it's got like a sponge lagging on it. In fact, both of them have, look. And the sponge lagging has actually done a great job in masking failure. Check that out, guys. The sponge lagging, I've just peeled some of it away there. And look at the state of that. Get a bit more light on. Look at that. It's absolutely soaking wet. So I was getting the occasional green drip, but that pipe has definitely let go, hasn't it? It's a bit awkward to get to, but it looks like it joins onto a metal pipe with a Jubilee clip just on top of the spark plug. I can't quite get the Jubilee clip in the video there, can I? And then it kind of loops up under this bracket and comes up onto the reservoir here. So I'm going to get these ordered from IntroCar, and I think it's probably going to make common sense to change both of these if I can, and it'll be one less pipe to worry about, won't it? There you are, you can see the Jubilee clip, so I'm going to try and get that loosened off and see if the pipe will come off, because it's definitely gone, hasn't it? It's absolutely soaked the sponge lagging, so I might have to try and replace that sponge lagging with something. I've actually decided to take this back one off first, because that's this one here, and if that's out of the way, I think it'll give me a better line of sight down to the leaky one. So Let's do that. I've stuffed a load of rags underneath the pipe because I'm not sure how much LHM we're going to lose here. Because I'm on another voyage of discovery here. I might have to it's not too bad. I've lost a little bit. See if I can mop that up. It's not peeing out, that's a good sign. So I'm going to take this end off now and get this pipe out of the way. Could be original these, but they interestingly they both look to be slightly designed slightly differently, these pipes. Okay. Let's bring that one out. Yeah, lost a bit of fluid. So now that I've taken that pipe off to the reservoir there, I can see down there now a bit better, and I can see the Jubilee clip, look, where it goes onto a metal pipe. But I tell you what, now I've disturbed that pipe, look at it, it's absolutely peeing out. I think I've caught another one just in the nick of time here on this car, guys. Right, let's get this one taken off. Wish me luck, guys, wish me luck. First challenge, getting onto the Jubilee clip. Oh, it's going to need to come down a slightly different angle here. Could do with a slightly longer screwdriver. Well, what a nightmare that was to get down the clip. I've ended up using a screwdriver bit inside a speed drill adapter, then that going into a socket, then that going into a converter, then that going to 3/4 drive, and then that going onto a ratchet. And I've just been able to crack the Jubilee clip off. Right, let's see if we can get it unscrewed and get it off. Right, I've backed the Jubilee clip off and I've got a load of kitchen roll underneath. So I'm going to take it off now. Right, I've got them both off. The one that's leaking, you can see it damp, isn't it? So it's obviously gone porous. They're both original. This one's got 1994 date stamp. This one has a little bit earlier, in November 93 that was made. So yeah, interesting though, isn't it, how they one is like a slightly different design in terms of the way it's constructed. Right, so I need to get onto IntroCar, get a couple of those ordered up, but what I will need as well, I need these sponge sleeves if they do them, because they're not in very good condition. That one's a bit raggy, but I certainly cannot reuse this one because it's drenched. It's soaked with fluid, with brake fluid, so they're no good anymore. So I'll have to see if you can get a couple of them from IntroCar. So what's actually going on here then? So why are these pipes failing? So this is a pipe that was manufactured in 1994 and it's basically failed due to age. The rubber has started to degrade on the inside. The fluid has been able to work its way through the pores and it's started to come out along the length of the pipe. Now again, it's a natural degrading product. It's done well really to last 30 years. Now Rolls-Royce actually specified that the vehicle gets what's known as a hydraulic service at 6 years or 60,000 miles, whatever comes sooner. And well, my car's obviously never had a hydraulic service, and a lot of these cars didn't receive a hydraulic service. A lot of these Silver Spirits didn't get the hydraulic service because of the cost. I believe Rolls-Royce were asking for 28 hours labour to complete the whole job, or around about 28 hours. So imagine how much that would have cost at a Rolls-Royce dealership back in the day. A hydraulic service is where you basically would change all your feed and return hoses going to the high pressure pumps. You would change all the flexi hoses on the car, of which there's 2 on the front and 4 on the back. So that's 6 in total. Then you would change all the caliper piston seals front and back. Remember, there's 4 calipers on the front, there is 2 calipers on the back, and then the whole system is bled out. So you've probably figured out that's what I'm actually doing on this car bit by bit, is I'm working my way through a hydraulic service. I'm doing the calipers and I'm doing the pipe work bit by bit as I'm going around the car. So yeah, it's probably quite common that a lot of these Rolls-Royce Spirits didn't get their hydraulic service when it was due, because you know most of the time they've been passed on maybe to the second owner or the third owner by then, and the vehicles were no longer visiting the Rolls-Royce dealership. So there you go. Yeah, 30-year-old pipework. So my car is 24 years overdue its hydraulic service. I thought you'd find that quite amusing. Right, my new pipes have turned up from IntroCar. One of them is slightly longer than the other because it needs to go from the back of the reservoir to the engine, whereas the other one doesn't go quite as far. And we've got our new sleeves as well. And look, they've been supplied by Jack Barclays. How fitting. But yes, so IntroCar managed to source me these correct sleeves, so we'll get them fitted onto the pipes and get the pipes back on. There we are. So if you remember, the curved end that needs to go onto the reservoir, and then the other end needs to go down there. It's a bit dark because the bonnet does a great job of blocking all the light. So, but anyway, I'll see if I can get this video set up for you, and then we'll get the pipes fed in. It's a bit awkward, this one, because it has to go down and underneath. A load of other pipes. Alright, there's my new pipe connected onto the pipe at the back of the engine there. Tighten the Jubilee clip up, new sponge sleeve, and that loops down and comes up in between this bracket here. There's the sleeve there, and that needs to now connect onto this reservoir. But before I do that, I'm going to do something. What I'm actually going to do is tip some LHM down that new pipe, just because I don't want an airlock before the pumps start sucking fluid. If you've ever changed a fuel filter on a diesel, you'll know what I mean by this. It's a good idea to prime the pipes to prevent airlock. So I'm just going to put some LHM down that pipe until it's full, and then I'll reconnect it back onto the reservoir there. And I'll do that with the second pipe as well. Alright, there we go, that's the first one tightened up and in. So, yeah, let's get the second one in now, from here to here. So in she goes under there, and she's going to go onto there. So we'll get this end connected, and then I'm going to fill it up with fluid again. So there we are, there's our new pipe fitted. So there's two feed pipes changed, and obviously I'm going to leave the cover off the reservoir just to check for leaks when the engine's running. The other thing that you might be interested to know, there is actually these return pipes here. Let the camera focus. So there's one, and there's one underneath it, and those I will be changing at some point as well. They go down to the accumulators, which are absolutely really tricky to get to, because they actually, well, you can see how that one there, if I just keep the light there, if I can, just in case you're ever thinking about getting this done on your car and wondering why it might be quite expensive. These ones will be quite tricky, because you see how that loops around there, that goes onto a bracket at the back of the engine and then goes down to where it connects onto the valve bodies. So what I'm going to do, they're not leaking, well, they don't appear to be, the sponges are not showing any signs of leaks. So I'm going to leave them for now, and then when I can get this car up on a lift, I might have to sweet talk my best mate who works in a garage and see if we can get the car on the lift one day, and then we'll be able to do these hoses so we can see what we're doing down below a bit better and see up the back of the engine. And then the other two that are really awkward to get to laid on your back in a garage is the rear flexi hoses, because they're kind of in the middle. There's two each side, and they're kind of in the middle of the back axle. And so yeah, I think if I can sweet talk my friend in letting me get this car on the lift later on down the line, and once we're up and running MOT, that's probably a good time to start thinking about changing those final few hoses on this car. So yeah, big job, the hydraulic service, big job, fiddly as well, and awkward as you've seen just for these two that we've done today. Right, we've got it fired back up, and I'm just checking for any leaks around those pump feed hoses that we've just replaced. So just have a quick visual, make sure everything's okay, make sure the fluid levels are okay. Yep, fluid levels are okay and there's no leaks from those pipes, so another job ticked off. All that's left to do now is pop this cover back over the reservoir. Well, that's a good one ticked off, isn't it? That nasty LHM fluid leak that was coming from the back of that pump feed pipe. So yeah, it was a bit tricky, that one to do, and a little bit nerve-wracking trying to get down and underneath where the pipe is. But like I said on the video there are another couple of hoses that I want to change, which is the return hoses. Eventually get around to doing them. They're not critical at the moment because they're not leaking. And I also need to do the rear flexies. But again, that's probably a job for the future when I can maybe get the car up on a ramp, because they are really quite awkward to get to when you're just on jacks and axle stands. So again, not critical yet, but jobs that I will eventually tick off to complete the hydraulic service on the car. So I hope you enjoyed watching that. I hope you learned something. I certainly learned something doing the job. And yeah, all I've got left to say is don't forget to like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. That would be fantastic if you can do that, because it does help me build the channel and it helps the YouTube algorithm to do its thing and all that. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate all of my subscribers. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate the comments, and I do really appreciate the all-round support that you're giving me here on Life on Cars. So I just wanted to remind you all of that. So take care, drive safely, and I'll see you all again very soon with the next installment on Life on Cars. Bye bye now. Bye bye.